It's a 2016 video. The crime occurred on video at that time, and it is clearly outside the statute of limitations for assault and battery in this case. The hotel and the ownership of the hotel, when a crime occurs on your property, in your premises by invitees, people who are there, who are paying money, who are residents at least that day in your hotel, you need to inform the police and you need to get law enforcement involved. You don't just take $50,000 and 86 a videotape like this. It's despicable, really, that conduct.
One person of interest who reacted to it is 50 Cent. And I don't know if you've been following, but he's been very vocal.
When I was watching his apology, it didn't pass muster. First question I would ask in a deposition, first question I would ask in a courtroom, if he was on the stand, if he has sworn an oath to tell the truth. Well, what's your name? State your name, state your birth date, and didn't you lie about this?
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Lawyer Interviews. We brought back with us Tamar Arminak. Tamar, good to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah, after Tamar and I last spoke, the P. Diddy case had a very dramatic turn when CNN released a video of P. Diddy horribly violently interacting with Cassie Ventura, his ex, and yeah, it was quite the bombshell, huh?
It was unbelievable. I almost think it was during our last talk that the video was released. It was immediately after we quickly messaged each other. Oh my goodness! I can't believe we just saw what we saw.
Yeah. Exactly. So it really was really fortuitous to get you back so quickly so we can react to this, because it really does change some things a bit. So the video was sent in 2016 exclusively to CNN. I couldn't really find it. Who sends that video to CNN?
I didn't find it either. And I don't know if CNN discloses its sources. So I'm not sure. I didn't see that it was sent in 2016. Did CNN confirm that they've been sitting on this video?
Oh, no, that's a good point. So the video is from 2016. It was recently sent to them.
That's right.
Yes, they were not sitting on it.
That's right. And we all have to wonder who has been sitting on it and had access to it and was able to send it to CNN. And why have they been sitting on it? Certainly, we know that the hotel had a copy because we know that according to Cassie's filed complaint that Diddy paid $50,000 to 86 this video. So we know they've had a copy of it.
Well, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, all good questions I was going to ask you to see. So let's say, I mean, we could assume maybe that lawyers or legal team for some of the complainants in the various lawsuits against P. Diddy, maybe they had something to do with this. If this was in your situation and your clients, what would the strategy be in terms of timing of releasing it and having this come in?
Well, I think that I doubt that it was Cassie herself or her legal team, because as you last recall our conversation, we spoke about how she filed her lawsuit and the next day it was settled. So without a doubt, there's a confidentiality agreement there in place that's ironclad that she and her representatives and others around her that she controls essentially would be bound by. But we don't know if that involves the hotel and the $50,000 payment. We don't know if it's someone from security at the hotel, because this is a video that was accessed by security that day, we know. And also, prior to settling her lawsuit over the last years, if Cassie had the video, if one of her representatives had it, did they disseminate it in some way? Did Little Rod get it or his team get it somehow? We don't know. But it's certainly interesting and well-timed, I would say. Well-timed, because it all happened on the same day that Little Rod filed a dismissal for some of his individual plaintiffs, individual defendants in his lawsuit against Diddy. It's very shortly after Diddy issued statements saying he didn't engage in this type of behavior. And it's pretty quickly after the FBI raid. It's within 2 months of the FBI raid. So interesting timing.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Very good points. And it's interesting too to be able to remove from consideration that it would be Cassie's legal team because of what you just mentioned. So that's a good point.
I can't imagine they would jeopardize that settlement agreement by doing something like this.
No, it's good. It's a good thing to keep in mind. Now, the video itself, gruesome. It's horrible. I'm sure it sparked a lot of outrage of people who've been following this case and otherwise. The DA of from Los Angeles released a statement saying it's a horrible video. Unfortunately, we can't prosecute based on this video. What do you think about that?
It's a 2016 video. The crime occurred on video at that time, and
Mm-hmm.
it is clearly outside the statute of limitations for assault and battery in this case. Also, I don't think that Cassie, the victim here, is standing up and saying she wants a prosecution, and she has resolved all of her claims against him some time
Mm-hmm.
ago. So, yeah. Yeah, it's sad because it's right there, black and white. And if
Mm-hmm.
this happened in 2016, I really hate to think what else happened to her and what else happened to others after 2016. Why didn't the Intercontinental Hotel, why didn't security, why didn't people at that point? You can't put that on Cassie. She was in a horrific relationship and situation, but others that knew and had this type of evidence, documentary evidence, why didn't they at that point call the police or get it to the district attorney's office or the
Mm-hmm.
FBI or someone that could do something about it? It's a really bad situation.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I don't know if it, in term other than a moral reason, was there any obligation, for instance, on the security
Absolutely.
people? Okay, yeah, if you don't mind going into
Absolutely.
that.
The hotel and the ownership of the hotel, when a crime occurs on your property, in your premises by invitees, people who are there, who are paying money, who are residents at least that day in your hotel, you need to inform the police and you need to get law enforcement involved. You don't just take $50,000 and
Mm,
86 a videotape like this. It's despicable, really, that conduct, I think. So and it's interesting because the hotel released a statement saying, well, we're under new management and we don't know what happened back then and we can't account for that. And sort of bye. And I don't think that's good enough. I really don't. I think establishments like the hotel and others have a duty when a crime like this occurs and it's black and white, you got to call the police and let law enforcement hash it out.
uh, I see. So does Cassie have any kind of cause of action against the hotel?
I don't think she does. I think the statute has come and gone on that as well. And if she did, she has given up any rights and claims to speak about her relationship, it sounds like, after signing the settlement agreement and likely getting substantial settlement funds. Yes.
Yeah, understood. Well, shortly after this horrible video, P. Diddy himself made an apology video, which got a lot of attention as
Yeah.
well. One person of interest who reacted to it is 50 Cent, and I don't know if you've been following, but he's been very vocal about a lot
Yeah.
of P. Diddy's legal troubles. I guess they have a long rivalry going back,
Right.
and he's this is you gotta rappers love having beef, so
Yeah.
maybe this is another example. But so 50 Cent said, wow, bad move. I would not do that. Do you agree with 50 Cent from a legal perspective?
This is a bad look on everyone, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is a bad look on the publicists that released the old statements, the attorneys that approved the old statements, but Diddy himself, who came out multiple times, essentially at one point saying, "There's plenty of people trying to extort me and lie about me, and I'm not going to give in to extortion." Well, it's pretty black and white. In fact, when I was watching the video, the first thing that came to mind is, have I seen this before? And
Hmm.
I realized the reason why it looked so familiar is because I had read Cassie's lawsuit. And the way that it is described in the lawsuit, if you put it next to the video, it is exactly how it occurred. It's almost like reading a script because it was so perfectly describing the horrific situation she was in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would go back to the client and say, I would go to Diddy and say, why such emphatic denials and actually going after? I mean, he went on the offensive,
Mm-hmm.
really,
Mm-hmm.
didn't he? He
Saying
went
she was
after
lying about him and defaming him,
her.
looking for a payday.
Exactly. And everyone else that he's sort of gone after,
Mm-hmm.
saying that they're lying when this sort of evidence exists. And you know that it exists because you paid $50,000 to have it, deleted,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. So it's a bad look. I don't know what sort of apology he could have come out with, really, that would have made this situation better. But when I was watching his apology, it didn't pass muster. I can't imagine any attorney or PR representative thinking this is a good idea to issue a video like
Is it
this.
possible he went against his own
Oh, yeah.
lawyers and legal's wishes?
It's very hard to know what goes on in others' minds, but
Yeah.
and going back to my past experience and the experience of several colleagues that I confer with all the time, when you have clients who are famous, wealthy,
Hmm.
powerful people, they don't have the same relationship with their attorneys and their advisors as others. In terms of, it's a suggestion from your attorney. Their
Right.
advice, it's a suggestion. You can choose to take it or disregard it. And I have a feeling that might have been what occurred here, because certainly someone must have told him, don't come out and attack the alleged victims.
Hmm.
If there is video or there's evidence corroborating what they're saying, be
Yeah.
careful.
Well,
Uh,
I'm sure these clients, someone like Diddy, they're used to being the boss. I don't think they're used to anyone else calling the shots. So
Absolutely.
not surprising that
Yes.
he would do that.
Yes, and a lot of these clients are used to getting away with a lot. Um,
Hmm.
just like this video from so many years ago, almost a decade ago, 8 years ago, which
Yeah.
he's technically, he never thought it would see the light of day. So there's a lot of that as well in the industry
Hmm.
clients. But I don't think that the video was advisable. I think this was a serious situation. It required a serious response.
Right.
And I don't know
Uh-huh.
how serious that video was.
And it's one thing that when you read about what happened here is before his apology video and before this video came out, he was flatly denying any misdoings with Cassie. Everything was a flat denial. They settled right away, saying, let's just move on, wish her no hard feelings, but none of this is true. Next thing you know, this video comes out, and his response to it is, I was in a dark place. I would never act like that. All of a sudden, you went from just lying and denying to admitting and
Right.
saying,
Giving an
this
excuse.
happened.
Yeah. Giving an excuse and not directly apologizing to the person you hurt horribly. And
Right.
that's what I was missing from that video. And it was it was very blaming other things. I know he says he takes full responsibility in it. I didn't feel that watching the video. Maybe others did.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it required something a little bit more serious than what he issued, I think. But the other thing, the biggest thing I think about this is it's not just Cassie. Cassie is no longer speaking, but there are
Mm-hmm.
others who are still speaking, still accusing, and still have pending cases. And the feeling is if you were dishonest about Cassie's accusations against you, what's going on here? Are you being dishonest about all the other ones? So it definitely brings his credibility
Mm-hmm.
at play. It's definitely an issue here moving
I'm
forward.
glad you brought that up. His credibility definitely being degraded. Can the counsel for other of the victims who are in current lawsuits, Little Rod, etc., can they point to this and say he lied about this?
Yes, it's
Is that
the
admissible?
first question I would ask in a
Mm.
deposition, first question I would ask in a courtroom if he was on the stand, if he has sworn an oath to tell the truth. Well, what's your name? State your name, state your birth date, and didn't you lie about this? Isn't this a statement from you saying that people are trying to extort you and none of this is true? And here's a video. Let's watch the video together. In the video, you admit that you did commit these
Mm.
various allegations, these crimes, whatever you want to call it. You did harm Cassie in this way. Here it is. Weren't you lying on that day? So you Michael Cohen him, I guess. This is the new term.
Very good. Bringing in other famous cases to it's all connected, I suppose.
Right.
Well, again, thank you so much for doing this. We'll keep track. If anyone watching this missed our original coverage, you should go check out our other video where we go over all the different lawsuits that P. Diddy is dealing with. And yeah, thanks, Tamar. It's great to have you on.
Thank you. Great to be on. Talk soon.
Bye.